Okay, well, why don't we get started, and others can join as they come in. Thank you all very much for being here. We're very excited about this topic. It's fun to not be talking about a crisis and disasters, but to be talking about something that brings everybody joy. And it also is a very good time to be learning a new skill,
Yes.
and to sign up for the online class and and develop the skills that we've always wanted to develop and never found the time to do. So this is really exciting. Just a technical note: we are recording this presentation. The recording of the presentation will be available through a link on our website probably by tomorrow. We will also send a follow-up email to everybody who registered for this presentation with a copy of the presentation and a link to the recording, as well as Jacquy and Jean-Pierre's contact information. Everybody is muted. We will hold questions until the end of the presentation, at which point you can unmute yourselves and ask questions directly to Jacquy and Jean-Pierre, and they'll answer them as best as they can. I will turn it over now to Jacquy, one of the founders of the French Pastry School. And if you've never tried their wonderful creations, you're missing out. So hopefully you will have the chance sometime when we can all do that again. But in the meantime, enjoy learning about how you can do some of this yourself at home. Thank you very much, Jacquy. I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you for having us, and I am Jacquy Pfeiffer. I'm the co-founder of the Bada Book in Chicago, together with Sébastien Cannon, and Jean-Pierre Le Cannelier is our general manager, and he is going to start the presentation that we have prepared for you. So here is our beautiful picture and our titles. So we can pass that. Here's a video. Okay, so the Bada Book was created by the creators of the French Pastry School, which is also myself and Chef Sébastien, and we did that 25 years ago, and we are the only major culinary school in the country that is dedicated to pastry and baking only, and for the last 25 years, we've been training thousands of chefs coming from all over the world during programs or short classes, which are continuing education classes. The Bada Book is a project that we started 3 years ago, actually. A lot of people say, oh, that's so great, you have created this because of the virus. It didn't work like this. We actually created this 3 years ago, and we knew there's an online education trend that is happening, and so we jumped on it, and we kind of like turned the way we educate in our classrooms, and we turned it into an online tool. And initially, it was a complement to the French Pastry School's teaching, and it took us this long to do that is because we wanted to make sure that things were done right and well, and also that we covered the fundamentals of our profession.
There's another video.
Huh? Looks like you're watching the video twice. Okay, what are we seeing now, Jean-Pierre?
You're seeing the home page of the website.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes. So the website was created for 3 levels of pastry enthusiasts, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And so there is classes and lessons for all levels. So as soon as we opened, we had 160 video lessons on the site, which is a lot, and a lot to produce also. And we're releasing an additional recipe every week, a video recipe every week. By the end of the year, we will have probably close to 200 video lessons. And we have also courses that are a bunch of lessons put together. And each video is closed caption and has a voiceover also on top. And we have a tool called My Book, which is very interesting because once you get into baking at home or wherever you are, you can follow your progress in this My Book. It shows you which classes you have completed, which you have not, and so on. So it's very, very interesting. Then we have a glossary of more than 4,000 technical terms, because sometimes we use terms and people don't understand them. So that's in there. And then we have articles from different chefs from all over the world that just talk about pastry and about things they are passionate about. Now we have also tips and tricks of the trade. This a video, Jean-Pierre? Is this a video?
This is actually a few screenshots, Jackie.
Okay, so this is what a
recipe
like.
application and fundamentals.
Yes. So this is what a lesson looks like. It's actually very simple to operate, and you can see the level of the lesson, if it's advanced or not. You can favorite the lesson. So not many things on the screen, because we want to make sure people really get into making the recipe. Then we have fundamentals that are explaining really the core of each specialty. And we have many different specialty in pastry, because we have chocolate making, we have sugar candy making, we have bread making, we have tart making, ice cream, you name it. It's very, very diverse. And so we put those fundamentals in there to help anybody who's interested in making any of those recipes. So this is, what are we looking at, Jean-Pierre?
This is a course page.
Oh yeah, this is a course page. So you'll see the different lessons that we offer there. And then, so this way, if somebody really wants to get into chocolate making, there's a bunch of lessons to follow, and that actually are related to each other.
One more video.
So we've been endorsed. We have launched almost 2 months ago And already we have been approved and endorsed by some of the largest and major associations in the country, including Home Baking Association, Family Career and Community Leaders of America, Retail Bakers of America, American Culinary Federation, Académie Culinaire de France, and Maître Cuisinier de France. So this is very nice to see that right away they endorsed us after looking at the content, obviously. So those are some of those articles that were written by chefs. We have Chef Christophe Michalak, Chef Pierre Hermé that are from France. Then we have a chef, Leonardo Di Carlo, not DiCaprio, it's Di Carlo. DiCaprio could not make it. He wrote an article about Italian pastries. And then we have Karim Bourgi, who is based in Dubai. And we have about 12 to 15 articles on the site. So this is what happened. We launched the Bada Book 2 months ago, and then suddenly the world went into crisis, and then we decided to act on it and to make the site free for 60 days for anyone in the world. So we thought that was the right thing to do because everybody was suddenly stuck at home, and we thought it was a great way to get them to bake, learn how to bake, or rediscover how to bake. And that obviously created a major increase to the site and sign up. And we say timing is everything, but let's remember this was a project that was 3 years in the making. So we just got, we're opportunistic, but also we were there at the right time. So we're actually working with large corporations in the country that are trying to look for ways to boost the morale of their employees and also teach them some skills. So for instance, we have Whole Foods and Princess Cruises that we are working with, and they made this tool available to their employees, and it's working really well. The employees are getting really excited, and they're staying engaged with the employer, which is very, very important, because imagine a lot of them were laid off, and imagine if they don't come back, right? Imagine the nightmare of retraining, rehiring, and the cost of it too, right? So that's a smart way, I think, for companies to use the Bada Book. So what's next for the Bada Book? Well, since we launched it, we actually were also attacked by the education state department of various states, and educators and family consumer science educators around the country. They all had to suddenly teach online, and they contacted us and they said, we need the site to be more like this, more like that. So Jean-Pierre is in charge of this. Every week I ask him to add something new to the site, so this site could be used more kind of like in an education way. That's why the feature of my book was created, and now, like I said, countless educators use it, and they even are looking at using it all the way to 2021. That's what's going on right now. And then we're focusing on the audience to see what they need. We adapt, and then but it always has to be high quality. this is how to contact us, and you could always, if you don't have time to write it down, you could always do it through Andrea, I'm sure. That's not a problem. Or the sign up is going to end, the 60-day sign up is going to end in how many days? 1 day, no, 2 days. So hurry up or tell your friends. After that, we will go to a 10-day trial system, okay? Which is what we had in the beginning.
That concludes the presentation. Back to you, Andrea, for Q&A.
No, I was going to say, are you ready to open it up for questions now?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know if you wanted to add anything else. Just to get us started, I'm interested in hearing a little bit more about where this idea came from originally years ago. I mean, it was certainly great foresight, right? And how did you decide that that you wanted to take what is really a very traditionally hands-on person-to-person field and sector and type of instruction, and very, very sensory? How did you decide that you wanted to take that virtual? And sort of a second part of that question is, how has that changed your audience and the people you've been able to reach through your classes now that you might not have been able to reach before?
Well, the teaching online is it's something that is here to stay. I hear that everywhere now, and we always thought that we would be not part of this, but this is something you cannot stop, and it's going to grow much faster because of this situation that we are in right now. So we said to ourselves, if we have to do something online, it has to be very, very well done. So since you don't have the hands-on aspect, you cannot be there with a student in the classroom or a person in the classroom. We have to provide the maximum amount of details and explanation for a person to learn how to make pastry. So we're gonna continuously going to improve the site, make it better, try to add things to make it closer to a hands-on experience. This did not deter people from coming to the school, our school, and taking hands-on classes. The people who really want to make this a career, they know that the hands-on experience is really the way to learn how to bake, how to cook, how to do a lot of those manual skills, right? I didn't see the question.
Sorry. If we can let people unmute themselves and ask questions as they come, or we can, if anybody wants to ask a question by chat, I have my eye on it, so I can ask the question for somebody.
Either way.
But the floor is open for anybody. If not, I mean, I have other questions too, but I'm gonna try to.
Do you have some in the chat there?
Not yet. I don't yet.
Okay. There you go.
Hi, Jackie. My name is Odile. I am a foodie from Minnesota and director of the French American Chamber of Commerce in Minneapolis. We have a few Minnesota foodies online here, I can see. I have a couple of questions. One is, how do we sign up? It's probably in one of your previous slides, but I think I missed it. And then second, I think it would make for great gifts to be able to give gift cards. Do you have a gift card option Yeah.
Okay. Jean-Pierre can answer both of those questions. He needs to do something.
Right. So answering the first question, Odile, to sign up, it's pretty easy. You go to the website, thebutterbook.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link for you to sign up. Essentially, you create your account, email, password, and then if you do that before Thursday at midnight, you'll get inside the 60-day free trial window. I'm showing you the home page, and it's that blue button in the upper right-hand corner of the page, the one that says free trial. So that's how you sign up.
Okay, super. And then we can keep going beyond the free trial afterwards, right?
Yes, after the free trial, you'll have the option of essentially converting to a subscription. Right now, so after the Thursday, starting on Friday, we'll go back to how we had started, which is a subscription model where an annual plan is at the regular price of $199.99. So call it $200 for 12 months of all access content, which if you include all the lessons that are currently on the site, as well as the ones that are going to be added before the end of the year, it'll average out to about less than $1 per lesson by end of the year. So quite a lot of value for the investment.
That's awesome.
And I also don't want to forget about your other question about the gift card option. That's actually on the roadmap. That is one of the many features that we were not able to have at launch, but we're certainly working hard. And we obviously think there's going to be people that are going to be really interested in gifting a subscription to the Bada Book to their loved ones. So working fast and furious on that opportunity.
That is awesome. May I also ask, I'm not speaking about myself, but as a potential prescriber for the Bada Book, do you happen to offer like a monthly payment option for potential members who at this time may find it easier to pay for their membership or to pay for their subscription on a automated monthly basis? And it's okay if it's not available. It's really just a question.
We actually have two products. One is an annual plan, and there's also a monthly plan at $24.99 a month. So $25 on a month-by-month basis. And I forgot to mention that it's important that this is a subscription where you're free to cancel anytime. So if you want to give it a try for a month or two and then stop, you always have the option of doing that.
Okay, it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
I don't see any in the chat. So are you able to track? I'm curious about this now. Are you able to track who is using the site, where they're from, get a sense of whether you are reaching people in a more broadly across the world than you would have otherwise through your in-person classes?
That's a Jean-Pierre answer.
The short answer is yes. That's the beauty of the internet. The majority of the traffic is US based at this point. About 80% of traffic and visits and members are coming from the US market. But we've seen quite an uptick coming from other markets. So Canada comes to mind. India has started to show up not long after launch. We're getting traffic from Indonesia, other countries in Southeast Asia, a couple of countries in Latin America, as far as meaningful numbers. Obviously Europe, Western Europe, how could I forget that? Countries like France, the UK, comes to mind. And actually, Jacquy, here's a question for you that another Jean-Pierre is asking. So I'm just going to read it to you. It comes from the chat. The question is, since the majority of the recipes are French, how do you access French ingredients such as flour, 55, tea 45, or milk or butter, which often makes a difference in quality?
We have also a lot of American recipes, the American cookies and the brownies of the world and the English muffins, but a lot of the recipes are French or French inspired. But as far as the ingredients, we've been teaching for the last 25 years with American ingredients, and our recipes in the site are adapted to the American ingredients. American flour, nut powder, you name it, dairy product. You don't need to look for a special ingredient.
The other thing I will add is when it comes to ingredients, Jacquy mentioned a glossary that has more than 4,000 terms, and that's mostly for definitions. But the other thing is you have links for purchase. So if there's an ingredient that you need in a recipe that you don't have in your pantry or in your fridge, there's more often than not the option for you to just click and buy it online, because we want you to be able to do all of our recipes.
We have another question here, which is actually interesting because something I was thinking about as well is, have you considered any, in terms of sourcing, any collaborating with food upcyclers such as BSG, Brewers, Spent Grain, or any other local possible partners for procuring ingredients?
Jacquy, you want me to take that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, and that's certainly one of the development areas we've been spending quite a lot of time on. Obviously, right now, what the Bada Book is and does, it's an online solution, but we do see the need to kind of go the extra mile and help people maybe have easier access to high quality ingredients. So, like the idea of finding local partners to help with that. There's a few of those that we've started to look at, and that's certainly the type of new feature we're going to be working on, and we're going to be adding on hopefully sooner rather than later.
Jacquy, Jean-Pierre, this is Odile again. You were mentioning that your audience may be mainly in the US, Canada, or Mexico. I am well aware that language classes tend to, at university level or summer programs in high schools, incorporate cooking in their curriculum. And I'm just speaking as my wheels are grinding right now. But for instance, I could really well envision to introduce you to our Minneapolis sister city university, and maybe have the university subscribe X number of licenses for an online class that that would be a very interesting way to practice English, to pursue an area of interest with baking, to, you know, perfect what I do with little kids in middle schools and youngers. It's, you know, measurements, grams and ounces and liters and others. But I could see how we as chambers of commerce could act potentially as prescribers overseas in the education, you know, aside from our, you know, French partners and others, but really in universities and colleges.
Absolutely. We right now we work with all levels of education in the country. We're very surprised, but the Bada Book is used by culinary schools, high schools, tech schools, community colleges, you name it. So we can definitely work with universities. It's not a problem.
That is awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, we have another question.
Are there other questions? I actually have an, if there are no others, I have another one. Can you talk a little bit about how a marketing strategy and a communication strategy is different for online school and online coursework versus an in-person? I mean, I'm assuming that you're targeting a slightly different audience. I know that just from visiting your office and your school and seeing all the intimidatingly beautiful creations, I think that it's possible that people think of the French Pastry School as being something that only a very, very talented person could accomplish, but you're reaching, I mean, I just signed up for the Bada Book online, right? So that's, I think that this is an opportunity for others who might be otherwise intimidated to really sort of dip their toe into learning more about quality pastry and bread making.
Absolutely, and you 100% right. And from the get-go, we positioned the Bada Book as a tool to help people around the world to not be afraid of pastry making. That's why we put so much knowledge in there. We have a section that is called basics of. So we talk about basics of sugar, basics of eggs, basics of flour. Those are actually the classes that one should take first, because once you understand why an egg coagulates and how it coagulates, and the fact that an egg white coagulates at a different temperature than an egg yolk, and so on, then little by little, whenever you reach like a recipe like a lemon curd, suddenly all of those information will come back and like, wait a minute, this is thickening because of the egg is coagulating and so on. So you're absolutely right, Andrea. It's a way to learn a trade, a craft, or just recipe, simple recipe that you don't have to be a professional chef. And but without having a chef breathing down your neck and then and making you feel like you're not going to be able to do it. We spend the day answering questions from users around the world. Mm-hmm. I did write actually a elaborate question and answer segment. After each recipe, there is like 20 questions and 20 answers, and those questions and answers are a typical question that a student would have in a classroom. So we know what question they will have, we know what difficulties they will have, and then we right away give you the answer. So you're right about that. It's the Bada Book gives you the tool to accomplish recipes that maybe you would have never learned before.
That's great. There's a question in the chat about certification. Is there some sort of a certification option as you do cumulative online coursework? Is there, I mean, and to follow up on that, is there kind of a path to a professional position after taking some of this coursework?
We're not there yet. I mean, we are approved by the American Culinary Federation, so that's already something. But we are not an online. The Bada Book is not an online school where you can take the classes and then go apply for a job. We're not there yet. We would have to add a lot of things to this tool that was originally, remember, it was created for the consumer, and now we had to switch gears a little bit to help all these chefs that are stranded at home and the students. So you would have to add a lot more to it to make it and then have it approved. To make it a tool that you could use and then go out and work in the workplace.
Another question about finding equipment. Do you have links on your website or suggestions to help your customers figure out where to find the right pastry equipment? It's sometimes a barrier for someone to do pastry when you can't find the equipment, the right equipment to do a recipe at home. And do you have is there on your site, do you have a list of what you would need to be able to produce each recipe?
You have a list of ingredients, a list of equipment, and also we give you like other options for equipment, because even me at home, I don't have all this equipment. Nobody does. So we tell you that you can use a pan like this, or you can use another shallow pan that you have in your a Pyrex pan or whatever it is to make a recipe. We give you options because we don't want this to be stopping you from learning, okay? Same for the ingredients. We tell people if you don't have this sugar, maybe you can use that sugar, okay? So we do that, yes.
Great, that's great. Anybody else?
Could I just ask a question, please?
Yes.
Absolutely,
Okay,
go ahead.
You can hear me. Thank you. My name is Elizabeth and I'm in Minnesota. I'm a colleague with Odile. So my question to you is, before I lose contact with you, I do have a colleague who has established a food upcycling foundation, and they've arrived at, thank you for posing my question about the brewer's spent grain. They've arrived at finding recipes that utilize 20% of this brewer's spent grain with regular wheat. And I noticed when you mentioned that you are also teaching with American ingredients, would this be something you'd be interested in, you know, finding a collaboration? I know that they're trying to expand their education, their outreach. I know France was a huge instigator in recycling food. So merci, I'll listen.
I'll let Jean-Pierre answer that, but since we launched the Bada Book, we have been approached by the wildest propositions. So why not, right, Jean-Pierre?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we'd love to take a look and understand if we can kind of join forces and help each other out. We're doing it today with a number of brand partners that are supporting us, and and we find ways to reciprocate. So these are conversations we're always happy to start having. And if there's a particular person or entity you have in mind that you'd like us to talk to, we'd be happy to pick up the phone and engage with them.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there other questions? I think one burning question for everybody these days is where do you find yeast? Do you have a secret source or?
Online.
Really? Okay, where?
Online, Amazon, anybody has
really
it. And if you buy some, just buy a bunch. I mean, it depends if you want to bake a lot, and buy dry yeast, dry instant yeast.
Dry instant? Okay.
Yes. But you should be able to find. You just have to be patient and don't order it at the last minute, because everything is slowed down.
Yeah.
And so, but you'll find it. You'll find it.
Great. Thank you. Do you have a sense in terms of running a school? What is your forecast of what this means for you back in the fall or in the summer? Or is it really a complete unknown at this point, or do you have some sense of what's happening?
Our school is a hands-on school, so people are very close to each other in the classroom. There's a 6-foot table that is shared by 2 people, so definitely you have a problem there. And then at the end, we want people to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we want to reopen yesterday to give the education that people came here for, but it's not worth somebody's life. So we will see what the governor had to say regarding the confinement, and then we will go from there. We just cannot do anything else at this point.
Sure. Sure. Have you had any trouble yourself procuring ingredients that you would need for to teach your classes, or is it too soon to say?
We had lots of ingredients at the school because we were ready for hands-on classes, and now we are only teaching the demonstration part of our class during a Zoom video for our students, so they stay engaged. So there's a much smaller amount of ingredients that are used, and so far we did not run short of anything.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions from anybody else? The photos on your site are beautiful, and it's really it's enticing and very appetizing. So we're looking forward to giving it a try.
It's really a tool to try, and since there's nobody judging you, nobody. Actually, we're here to help people. Like I said, I help people all day long. I get questions and I answer them myself to make sure people get into it, because it is not, pastry is not like making a stew where if you have a little bit less carrot, a little bit more onions, the stew is not gonna fail. In pastry, it's not like that. You have to be precise, you have to measure, you have to follow procedures, you just have to be disciplined, and people try to wing it always, and we don't wing things in pastry.
And just for everybody, if you have interest in kind of keeping in touch with what we do, there's a couple of things I would suggest. One is follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We post content on a daily basis, such as the little video that I showed you earlier about the creme brulee. These are cut downs of our lessons, and we do about 5 a week, so almost one every day. Chef Jacquy also has started to do a live stream Q&A sessions on Instagram. So we had our first one last Saturday, and he is on the hook to do that on a regular basis. And this is also a great way for you to send your questions ahead of time. He'll go over everything we got prior to the session, and you can also ask questions during the session. And I promise to you, there are no forbidden questions. Anything goes, and he'll do the best he can to answer, and help you guys out, get in the kitchen and get baking.
That sounds great.
Eventually, we'll also do Facebook Lives whenever I get the courage to do it.
That sounds great.
Okay. So maybe that's it, huh?
Thank you. If there are no other questions, thank you both very much.
Oh, welcome. It's our pleasure to help people out and to teach them how to bake a cake or something.
That sounds exciting. You should have there might be a little blooper link on your website too, as the disasters that.
We have it all on film. One day we'll take the time to just put them together and then just and put it out.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We will send a follow-up email with Jacquy and Jean-Pierre's contact information, the link again to the Bada Book website and how to sign up, and a copy of this presentation, so that anybody who has any other questions can follow up with both of you directly.
Okay.
But thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.